commander of the Russian submarine with the Depth number 2 guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's
his voice really picks up nice on the Facebook.
That's really neat.
We're Facebook Live, guys, just in case you don't want to say anything to embarrass yourself.
Or
maybe you do. I don't know. So you can also go now, because she's put us on Facebook, and you can share this feed so the show can be on there. Oh, Susan's listening. Okay, we've got, what, about 1 minute?
mm-hmm.
15 seconds.
A little longer. 20 seconds. But I'm going to start the intro, obviously.
I want to give special kudos to the director of Center Right Radio, and that is Brandon Jones. You know, once you're a Marine, always a Marine. Welcome, Ronnie. Thanks for coming back to the Chips and Salsa Show.
Thanks for having me back. I always love being here with you guys.
Awesome. We so like having you. We have a studio audience today, too. George, you want to introduce him?
We have Frank Thorwell. He's currently with the Republican Party as a vice finance director?
Vice chairman of the
Vice chairman of the finance
State Finance Committee.
State Finance Committee. And he also holds other positions. Well, what's the other?
I'm chairman of the Oil and Gas Commission and a member of the Governor's Regulatory Review Council.
Yes.
You got all that? Okay, great. He's a very good friend of us. In addition to that, we've had him on our show previously because Frank was the assistant to Attorney General Ed Meese back in the Reagan days. And in fact, today, Ronald Reagan is inaugurated as 40th President of the United States, 1981. And Frank planned that inauguration, very instrumental in planning the events for that, right?
Correct.
Woo!
And you've been to how many countries? Like a ridiculous amount of countries.
Over 100. I forgot. After that, I
For
stopped counting.
representing the United States with the State Department, and had all kinds of clearances. He's top secret.
Oh.
And
I want to tell you that when that time he came in studio with us when we were on KFNX, he brought a bunch of pictures and things, Ronnie, and he could have his own museum. You know, he had
all those badges,
all kinds of photos. Oh my goodness!
All those passes, the White House passes stuff. So you've been just a plethora of stuff.
Could you do that Johnny Cash song? I've been everywhere, man.
And he's met the Pope. You actually met the Pope and got
yes, in his office.
In his
Vatican.
office.
That was John Paul.
John Paul.
Nice.
Pope John Paul.
Nice. We're very happy to have you here today, Frank. Thanks for being our studio audience. And from time to time, if you want to chip in with something, please feel free to. George, today we have. Oh, would you have a birthday, Ronnie? You said you have a birthday to announce. Alexandria Juarez.
Yeah, my cousin. Today's her birthday. Just wanted to wish her a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Alexandria. Yeah, that's one of my favorite names. My dad was Alejandro, and if I had a little...
I mean, you pull into Port-au-Prince, and I mean, we're there during the uprising, so I mean, things were a lot worse than at that time, and then obviously it got worse with the earthquakes. But I mean, that honestly is the first word that comes out of your mouth is just like, wow, you know, how can these people live like that, you know? But then you see the way that these people live, and some of them are actually happy the way that they live, you know, but that's one person's opinion, you know. I mean, if you go around and you're gonna hold this person to the fire because of one comment, then I mean, honestly, then you gotta hold everybody to the fire, you know, because that's ultimately what it comes down to, you know. I mean, Iraq, Afghanistan, it's all the same thing. And the sad part is that right here in
the homeless camps, and there was I read something about there's.
Well, from what I've seen, the veterans ain't going to be affected too much. There's, I guess, after the last shutdown, there was actually money that was put away for times like this that, you know, to take care of the veterans. And like they were saying, I was reading and watching TV, and they were saying, you know, eventually that money is going to run out. It's not going to last long at all. But then you have our troops. Our troops are not getting paid. They're not getting paid at all. You know, is it gonna affect them? Yeah, it's gonna affect them because it's in their mind right now. Some of these guys are overseas. Some of these guys are, you know, they're in training, and the one thing that's on their mind is home,
Right.
and that should be the furthest thing from their mind right now.
Because they get checks sent to their home, to their families, the ones with spouses and kids. Those checks, some of them live week by week, month by month paychecks.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll be very honest. I mean, me as a veteran, I live by my VA disability, and my wife is my caregiver, and we live by that. And if that's taken away, we don't have nothing.
Right.
You know, and it goes the same way for the active duty guys. You know, those guys, yeah, they're going to be taken care of, you know, to some extent. But the thing is that they shouldn't have to worry about that. They are being put, you know, in harm's way, whether or not they're stateside. He's stationed in Japan right now, and him and his wife went to the PX, and it was shut down.
They shut
The
down the
PX?
PX?
The PX, the
Oh man,
commissary.
we've got to talk about that. You're kidding me.
Because my son's over there in Japan too.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, you know, they didn't give these guys a warning. They just shut them down. You know?
PX, isn't that where they?
It's a grocery.
That's what they
The-
buy stuff.
everything.
Yeah, the commissary is where the groceries and all that stuff are, and then they got the PX where they go buy clothes and shoes and all that stuff. You know,
I think my son could live without the PX.
but the commissary is the biggest thing, you know, because it saves a lot of money, especially out in Japan where everything is, you know, times 100.
Yeah, because I know. Well, they don't shut down the food part, right?
You said it's
The
shut down.
commissary, everything's
PX
shut down.
shut down.
They're all furloughed right now.
But how do they eat? I mean,
They have to go out in town and buy their stuff. They can't buy anything on base.
you're kidding. Because I mean, they have like cafeterias, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, if they're not married, you know, the non-married guys, and they go to like the chow hall and stuff.
Also, the chow hall is.
I don't think that's shut down.
30 seconds, guys.
Okay.
My son lives off base, but you know,
Oh, wait, I'm going to talk
10
some
minutes
stuff,
away.
then I'll bring in the break account.
I wonder if they get back pay.
They said they were going to.
Oh, okay, good.
Well, that's what I heard, but
Yeah, they always do.
yeah.
It's
That's
essential
awfully convenient for
personnel.
the
That would
PX to be
suck
placed. That's
me.
ridiculous.
No back pay.
That's wrong. And we are back. We're the Chips and Salsa Show. That's some special effects by George right there. George, you still have that awful cough, huh?
It's just a little bit of hacking cough.
It took me, I think it took me about 2 weeks to get through that cold junk, and I
Yeah.
still had that gross cough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are 4 weeks, and so it's taking forever. And Ryan, did you get it? Did you get that awful junk?
Not yet. My family did.
Oh man.
I stayed away.
So you're the
I
healthy
was in a
one.
bubble.
Good, that's good. You know, just quickly before we go to the break point, over the break, Ronnie was talking about how, where was it, your friend, they shut the PX down?
Oh yeah, my brother-in-law, he's stationed out in Japan, and he had put on Facebook that the commissary and the PX were shut down.
Wow.
Man, and for the benefit of our audience members who don't know that, that's
The members of the committee that were privy to this classified report wanted it released immediately, and none of the Democratic
a few days ago because he has to have it ready for our Chips and Salsa show. But political junkies like all of us here have been following that. They're like, release the memo, release the memo.
Yeah, I'm for releasing that memo because I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to be embarrassed. A lot of people are going to may have violated the law. People in certain positions. You can't use the FISA law for political purposes. That's not what it was intended for. And you know, I'm all for the national security. You know, and the FISA court was put in there for a reason, to protect our national security. And for them to abuse it for political purposes goes beyond the pale. And I think this memo goes to that effect, but we'll find out. We'll find out. And I think they're going to release that memo. The memo, it's too
What's
many
the
people.
latest? Have you heard anybody, the latest, if they're getting close to releasing it? Everything's focused probably on the Schumer shutdown.
Yeah, with the shutdown, it's kind of a back burner thing right now, but it's coming up next week. It's going to come up. You know, they can't, Dems can't hide it. It's too many congressmen are involved in it now, where they've read it and they're demanding that it, not demanding, but asking that it be released.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to let it go, especially our own Arizona Congressman, Andy Biggs. He was on a couple of listened to you.
Well, basically, we got hit by an IED. My engineer, he lost his legs, and basically he died as soon as he got in the helicopter. A group of us, from the blast, we got thrown back. My back basically straddled a boulder that was behind me, breaking my L5 and 4, my S1, 2, 3, my T6, and caused my entire cervical to start deteriorating. I got some TBI, traumatic brain injury issues going on. I got 40% incomplete paralysis of my left leg, and I mean, it's not stopping me.
And you're training soldiers with disabilities. That's what you do.
Yeah, I'm one of the coaches for the Marine Corps. I'm the head hand cycle coach and recumbent coach for the Marine Corps. Basically introducing the sport to new athletes and getting them to bite onto it, and then we get them ready to go to the Warrior Games, which this year is going to be in Colorado. And then hopefully I get some athletes that are good enough to go to the Invictus Games, which I'm trying to do this year, to go to Australia, and then get them into the pipeline to hopefully get into the Paralympic cycling team or into that system. But that's our goal, is to just get these guys ready and just develop them.
Do you do this every day? I mean, this is your life, right? I mean,
yeah, basically I do the hand cycling, the coaching, and motivational speaking.
And if you'd like to get him to speak to your group, we're going to let you know about that real soon here, because he is a fantastic speaker, Ronnie Jimenez. But now we got to pay a few bills. So I'm Alice Lara Jorge Ortiz, and our guest Ronnie Jimenez. We'll be back in just a little bit with more of the Chips and Salsa Show here on Center Right Radio. So don't go away, Chipsters. All right, so let's.
that was a good segment.
Yeah. Let's. You want to come back and we can talk about the polka tassels?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of them.
I know my favorite.
I haven't even
had to
gone
break
through
that
all
down
of
so
them.
quick.
No, you did a good job with it. We didn't give you that much time. No, it was great. It was good. I mean, we never have enough time. One of the things that would be really good to talk about is, I know how you had to go back and get detox because it gave you so many drugs.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of issues that our guys have, guys and gals.
5 years of narcotics, and it was all prescribed. That's the hard part.
How old are you now?
39, turned 40 in February. Done in
Oh,
February.
you get it 340.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Wow. You stood it, baby. You
So
stood it,
you're-
baby.
So right now you're clean with the drugs and stuff. It's just what you need for.
Yeah, basically, all I do is just like the nerve medicine, which is like non-addictive, and then I do a lot of vitamins, and
So,
but
what,
most of it is just psych medicine.
but what they had on you on was some heavy drugs.
Oh yeah, I was on. They had me on Oxy. They had me on fentanyl. They had me on Percocet for breakthrough with those two. I mean,
And was this just one doctor that did this, or like did you go through 2 different doctors?
oh
And
no,
one
it
did
was
this
just one
together?
doctor.
That's a lot of stuff to put in somebody's system.
So you can relate when President Trump talks about the opioid epidemic.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's so like near and dear to my heart. I mean, because I've seen it, I've lived it. I mean, it was a big part of, I mean, I went through the whole suicide thing. I tried to kill myself 8 times.
Wow.
You know, I mean, my 8th time was just 3 months ago.
Wow.
You know, and I was in the hospital for a while, and just
30
realized
seconds, guys.
it's not gonna win. It's not gonna win.
Wow.
Don't
You
let
have an angel behind your
We'll
back.
have to kick your butt.
Yeah, I know
I'm
that.
swelling, I can do it. All right. We're going to come back with the cocotazos.
I like those. They've been good lately.
And guess what? We're back with the Chips and Salsa Show, our Saturday edition. Well, I guess right now that's the only edition we have at 4 p.m. here on Center Right Radio. And, tell your friends about us, please. Go to our Facebook site. We try to keep you updated all week. And George posts stuff, I post stuff. So does Secret Sonia, our executive producer. If you have something that we maybe missed, don't hesitate to message us about it. But that's Chips, letter N, Salsa Show. Today we have our most excellent guest, Ronnie Jimenez. If you are listening on Facebook or watching, you got to hear a riveting tale of some of his experience through the veteran system and a lot of drugs that they gave him that maybe they shouldn't have. But he's doing good now, and we wish him the best, and we're so glad that he's here. And now, guess what time it is, George?
The cocotazo.
Cocotazo time. George, tell the audience out there, what is a cocotazo?
The cocotazo is when in our family, when you got out of line or you said something stupid in front of the family or something, your mom or your dad would come behind you and just kind of give you a little thump on your
Smack on the
noggin.
head.
And that's what we call the cocotazo, because you were acting stupid, or you just maybe spoke out of turn or something. But it was called a cocotazo, and we give the award for people doing dumb things, and we call it the cocotazo nominations.
And we do this every week, and you can follow us on Facebook. And Ronnie just saying how he likes these. He listens to us because, and there were so many. Sonia keeps track of them for us, and she prints out this nice little sheet each week. And there were so many that she had to cut them off, or else we'd be here like all afternoon. Oh, we're out of showtime. We'll keep doing the cocotazos. So here are the cocotazo nominations. So we give a nomination to Lindsey Graham because in 2013 he said not everyone in hellholes can come to the United States. So that's number 1, George. And just I want y'all to keep these in mind and kind of think what's your favorite one, because we're going to vote on these. Okay. Number 2, driver yells at Trump supporters, runs a red light, and crashes into a car. Did you guys see this? Okay, I found this by accident. Somebody had posted it, and it was firsthand. He says, "Yeah, I was up there at a rally, and he had his Trump supporter signs, and somebody was yelling at him, and I tell you what, it's terrible, terrible." Jamie Lee Curtis is number 3. Jamie Lee Curtis blames Trump for the Hawaii false alarm scare. Last Saturday, if you were listening to us, that had just happened that Saturday. So Jamie Lee Curtis, and I like Jamie Lee Curtis. I think she's a pretty good actress. I like her movies and stuff. But number 8, over a dozen people were arrested for feeding the homeless in El Cajon. Did you see that? In your prior state of California, that's why you live in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
So these people went and they're trying to feed the homeless, and they said, "Nope, you can't do that. We have rules against it. You can't do it." And there's actually an ordinance. And they were going to fine. I think the fine was going to be, Sonia reminded me, up to like $10,000 or something.
I don't remember.
Oh, it's just, don't even get started.
I would vote for number 11, which is the California Attorney General prosecuting employer.
But your number one is number 10, right?
Number 10, yes.
All right, Sonia, you got one that's your favorite?
Number 6.
Number 6.
Number
Yeah, that
6.
robbery gone wrong. Okay, that's another one for
Robbery
Sonia.
gone wild. Looks like this guy is running.
It was just incredible to watch and hysterical. Okay, I'm going to go to our director. That's Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones, what do you say, buddy?
It's tough.
It's tough. There's so many. I
Let's
know.
go with 10.
10.
10.
Oh, Comey. Oh,
Comey.
that's 2. Okay, we're tied right now.
And our
2 and
special
2.
guest,
Now,
Joe, and there's a big scandal going on about the company out there hoarding a bunch of stuff that was needed, and actually the government went in and got all that stuff out, and so they're trying to restore the electricity back.
George, I'm glad you mentioned that because, you know, my nephew, David Beasley, he had texted me about that and the Puerto Rico government hoarding the supplies too. So,
And then
and our good friend Ruben Obed is keeping us up
right,
to date. So
he's
make sure you watch that.
he's in fact he's got he Facebooks us because he lives in Puerto Rico, and he's sending us information on a weekly basis. Mega Nationwide says happy birthdays. They also sent us congratulations on the great logo.
Woohoo,
Heidi
yeah.
Carlson from Texas has said hi from Texas. And then Irene Gomez says Democrats have been caught with their hands in the cookie jar.
Or heads too, maybe, I don't know.
Then Mega Nationwide says you are so inspirational. Irene Gomez, every Democrat send Republicans that kiss
Read it
attack.
fast, we got 20 seconds.
Okay, well, let's see. There's so many people are chiming in.
And we appreciate
And then
that.
Julian Allison, our past person that we used to,
10 seconds, George.
he's joined in.
Thank you, Julian, for joining us.
Caesars and Arrows, he's somewhere.
And we'll be right back with more of that. George will continue here on the Chips and Salsa Show with Alice Lara and George Ortiz, special guest Ronnie Jimenez. Don't go away, Chipsters. Had to cut you off, George.
All kinds of people just like chiming in. It's like,
You can come back and do some more. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We still got more guests. So this week's show, missed part of it, then good old Brandon's going to put it up on, you can go to centerright.live and he'll have that up there.
30
And-
seconds.
all
and
right.
thank you, Irene Gomez, for all your chiming in. And Sonia's the one that usually follows that, and she'll comment with the answers on that because she's the one behind the camera. And thank you, Federico Blondette, for your input regarding the Puerto Rican care packages. We're on top of it. Oh, we're back.
And guess what? We're back. Can you believe it? This is the last segment of the Chips and Salsa Show. George, Ronnie, oh my goodness. Frank Thorwald, our studio audience. Thanks so much for coming in. We really appreciate it. Sonia's behind the Facebook cam. Thank you, Miss Sonia. And also our director, who's playing technical director as well, and running everything, Brandon Jones, my Legislative District 27 chairman. By the way, I'm going to make a plug. Guess what? I don't even know if you know this, Brandon, because I know you've been out of the country. But our guest for our meeting, which is the second Tuesday of every month, is going to be Jesse Romero. He's going to come to our meeting, and that's on Tuesday.
On our show, and she will come back again. One of the deplorable Latinas.
Yeah.
I love those girls.
She's a lifelong conservative born in Colombia and proudly became a U.S. citizen in 2005.
Members at
And
large.
yeah, and those were 3 of the members at large. I happen to have the little bio, so I thought I would.
There's another person that we'll probably have here in the show. I think we've had him on our show, haven't we?
He has been on. It's been a while, but he has been on the show.
Yeah.
That's true. I want to announce too, our good friends. Guess what's coming back already? Laugh for Hope. Those are our good friends at Life Choices. And in fact, next month, Tonya Gruzinski is going to be a guest. And this is going to be their big event. Is going to be Friday, April 13th at the Dream City Church. Those of you who've kind of followed our show, she's going to bring some tickets to give away too. Life Choices is an organization that helps women who are pregnant, and it gives them information, provides services for them. And what they do every year, this is a big fundraiser, and they bring professional comedians, and these are comedians, so they aren't dirty comedians, and they are so funny each year. You haven't gone to one yet, have you?
No, and
I hope you guys can go to this one.
I'm hoping to go to that one.
We've kind of made it tradition, me and my friends, and they're just there as a sponsor, right? Okay, so let's see. What have we not hit, George? I think we did all our announcements that we need to take care of. Oh, next week, potentially, I think it looks pretty good. We're going to have Dr. Kelly Ward. Next week is the state meeting, too.
Yeah, we have a mandatory meeting for the state of Arizona for the Republican Party, and Jorge Ortiz is running for Assistant Sergeant of Arms. I hold that position, and I'm running for re-election. So, if you're a PC, a state PC, or state committeeman, remember my name, Jorge Ortiz, running for re-election of Assistant Sergeant of Arms.
George, I think you probably wrap it up. A lot of people like that, like you. So, you know, I'm a state committeeman. I guess I'll vote for you.
Oh,
You think?
gee, thanks.
Shall I do that?
I'll vote for
I
you,
got
George.
Frank.
Oh, we got 2 votes.
And I got Brandon's vote. Hopefully.
I'm not voting
He's
for
not
you.
voting.
Oh.
You gotta earn that
I'm
vote, man.
kidding.
You gotta earn that vote. All right, so we're down to the last few minutes of our segment. Ronnie Jimenez, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, because you are a great speaker, you'd be fantastic for any organization. Should they call you? Should they email you? Tell our audience how to connect with you.
The best way to get a hold of me is my very unprofessional email that I have right now.
Uh-oh.
That is,
You know, I don't know if that beats pig, but that's...
I even have it tattooed on me.
You have it taken? I spell it A-L-I-Z-O-N-G-A. Alizonga. Like
What does that
Alice. They just say Alizonga, like probably from Alice or something. I don't think it means anything, just, you know, a little nickname.
We'll
whatever.
find out when somebody
Frank,
says
you have a
Yeah.
call?
Called me because I grew up, you know. Anyway, so it's always been a really fun thing. You should have seen when I had to go get my security check. The FBI, they all of them were checking Thorwald. Remember, I mean, it went on for an entire year.
At least they didn't call you Stinky.
Oh, yes.
Limburgers, that's a
And
stinky.
you said your father was an actor? Or?
Yeah, 1920s and silent movies.
Oh, wow.
Oh man, I have to look for
And
that.
I know your
Frank
wife
Thorwald.
was an artist too, right?
Mhm.
Your wife's an
Artist, photographer.
yeah, for many years, yeah.
Yes. But my dad performed with William S. Hart and all the other actors
Oh, wow.
in the 1920s.
Oh, do you have any of the old movies, those silent
I do.
movies?
And some of them are still available on Amazon
How cool is
and out
that?
there.
That's really cool. You just never know what you're going to hear when you listen to the Chips and
I
Salsa
know.
show, right, George?
Yeah, the people that come up with, you know, they come and they have so many stories to tell.
It's true. Okay, so what you got going this week, George? Anything exciting?
Okay, this week, I'm doing security work for the University of Phoenix for 2 days, but then Friday we're doing a security check at the Church of the Nations, because I'm Assistant Sergeant of Arms, but I work under Roberto Gutierrez, who's a Sergeant of Arms for the Republican Party, and he's doing a walkthrough and a security check.
George,
making there is more out there for you to do. That is good. I'm glad you do what you do, and I'm glad you're giving back to soldiers and stuff. you
And we
know.
want to thank you for your service around different locations and people who do different things, and you'll be excellent to go and talk to the kids. It's high school, I think it's juniors and sophomores.
Oh yeah, I'd love that. Because when I do my talks, I start.
I'm going to mention you
I
to
start off by I take in
Ron Lara when I see
my
him.
old running shoes that I.
What's that? Connector.
Yeah, no, sir.
Just let me know the
I'm in
name,
Avondale.
what it's called,
George is,
because I live close to the music,
Okay.
are you out of town?
and I'll pick it up for you.
Um,
I'll pick it up for us because it's something we need.
February 3rd, I'm in Florida.
Yeah, just send Sonia the
Yeah, we'll be in
information.
Florida for
What
a
is-
race, and
what's
then
it
I come
called?
home, and then the 17th to the 19th, we actually have Valley of the Sun that's going to be here. It's a 3-day stage race,
Oh, wow.
and right now we have 25 adaptive cyclists that are going to be competing, and we got guys from very top to guys that are barely starting, but all the big dogs are going to be here, and it's pretty cool because we have all the big guys from Canada that are actually coming down to race this year, but we don't have any of our big guys that are going to race here from the U.S., but yeah,
And where does this take place at?
We actually start way down on, it's way, like, it's past, like, Verado and all that stuff. But we start with our time trial way down on the west side. The second day, we do our road race in Casa Grande.
It's like around Buckeye, no?
Yeah,
Around Buckeye.
yeah, it's in Buckeye. And then the last day, we do our crit, which is a 30-minute timed closed circuit race downtown, where we're racing through the streets, where they close down the streets, and we're going like anywhere from 20 to 25 miles an hour, just whipping turns, and I mean it's awesome. I love it.
And you ride too, right?
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah. That's why I'm only drinking water right now.
And how many miles?
The time trial is walk to the door, and I would have the biggest smile on my face, and I would always, as soon as I walked to the door, or even when I first got it back into my truck, I would always say, and I still do, thank you, Lord, because if it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm doing.
Right.
And now, I mean, it's gotten to the point where I'm out meeting people that I normally wouldn't talk to. You know, I'm friends with a guy that's a former Mongol. You know, and that's not me. I mean, honestly, I would never, before I would never, you know, approach somebody like that. You know, I'm scared. I mean, I was born and raised right down the street. I mean, I went to high school and junior high just right down the street. You know, Fees and Marcos Ceniza.
Wow.
You know, and so this is my stomping grounds.
Wow.
So you know.
We get Frank in the picture too.
We could take one with Ronnie first since he's the guest.
Well, we take a picture with him, then we're going to put you in the picture.
Oh gosh, I'll break your camera. I'll break
Alright.
your phone.
Okay. Then we'll take one of Ronnie.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna get one more. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, now we're going to just take one with Ronnie.
With the Ron.
With the Ron.
Ron.
With the Ron.
I was going to say the pig, but that wouldn't be nice.
1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Let's get one around Brandon.
You break phone cameras too.
Next time.
Next time.
You know, it's interesting. Before I came over here,
See, and everybody always thinks you're. That's good stuff.
Orlando. What's his last name? Can you tell me?
to be here in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, yeah, get a hold of us because we have Kathy Pierce. When is she due
She
here?
may be here the first weekend in February. It's not
First
confirmed.
weekend in February. So maybe
Good
they'll be here at the same time.
I'll give you a ring next week.
Please do.
Good to see you again.
You as well, sir.
It's been a whole long time
I
since
know.
the county the other
I
day.
Great,
know.
thanks for coming.
Yeah,
in
great
and
to see
hanging
you
out
all.
with us, you know.
We got chocolate for sale.
Oh, I want to buy some chocolate. I forgot.
So anybody has sweet tooth for a granddaughter.
Please, because if not, it's gonna get eaten from us.
See what kind of chocolates do you have?
Take care. Good to see
Thanks,
you.
Frank. Take care.
Good night.
It's nice
I
meeting you.
got caramel and a dark chocolate, milk chocolate, almond.
Which are the best? Have you tasted them?
I don't know, it's
See
jasmine.
to get out of here?
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you
keep in
so
touch,
much.
okay? Austin says she's going to get in touch with you once she gets organized.
Thank you,
with
sir.
that.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll feed her information to Kathy as well, too. Come anytime. Come hang out with us. You can be our host, our co-host.
My son is in Okinawa.
It just depends on what you like. Jasmine's
He's,
favorite is the caramel.
Does day
She likes
trading
the crisp,
on the side
and then
at
she's
home.
Oh, really?
She
Yeah, so
likes
he's,
dark.
he's making a lot of money. So
Oh, wow, that's neat.
He's even started his day trading webpage. It's a closed group.
Uh-huh.
Is there another one?
And
No.
Um, he just started it yesterday.
Oh, yeah,
And,
milk chocolate.
he,
There's almond too.
I mean, every time he tweets me, like, just make 20,000, just make 5,000, let's make 4,000.
This is for her school?
Yeah,
Wow.
she has
And so,
field trip to the Grand
he
Canyon
thinks
in
he's an
April.
expert, and I
So we're
introduced him
trying
to
to raise money for her
Frank
to go.
Dole.
It's a
And
dollar each, right?
Yeah,
Frank introduced him to
these
a
ones are
lady
nice.
who does the
Thank
stock
you.
market.
Cute.
And then he says, I got a friend that's made millions in the stock market. Frank.
Brandon, would you like a
So I
chocolate?
told my son, I said, Frank's gonna introduce you to a guy
Now,
who's
can you
made
chocolate?
millions.
What's
He
up?
goes, he goes,
Would you like
he
a
tweets back,
chocolate
so
bar?
maybe I could teach him a thing or two. So that's, my son, Trey is like, really the young kid that knows it all, you know?
Oh wow.
But, I told him, be careful with that, cause I mean, that goes up and down,
Oh yeah, it does.
you know. But
That's
right
the
now,
scary
he's,
thing.
yeah, right now he's doing okay.
I'm buying a whole dollar.
It's like when he, when this thing, this government shutdown, I know he's not gonna be hurting,
Any
he's
one of
got
those
money,
is
but
good.
still, everybody hurts.
Oh yeah.
Nobody give you.
It affects
I
everybody.
got these
Yeah, when he
are
comes
two
out here to
favorites.
visit us, I think he's gonna act for leave for next year. When he comes out here, I'll let you know, you can come,
Oh yeah.
you know,
I mean,
like the top army stuff,
Thank you.
military stuff.
oh yeah. It's always nice talking. Oh no, thank you.
Oh, you're in training. Do you do personal training?
Huh?
Do you do personal training?
No, you wouldn't like me.
Well,
He
you're right,
probably
you're trained.
works you.
A long time ago, we had a gym downstairs and we had access